I've tried, written down the words to say. It is time. I've been waiting 5 days to explain how you make me feel inside. Baby, got it all figured out. Wanna do this right. There's no doubt in my mind. Baby, you're the one. And tonight I am going all the way. Touch my hand, it all goes away. The things I planned, the things I would say. Now I keep rambling on. I sound so cliche. What I am trying to do.
Hi guys, welcome back to Behind the Beauty. I'm very excited to have Desiree Stordahl, Senior Research and Education Manager from Paula'S Choice here on the podcast today. Excuse my voice, I'm getting over a cold. But thank you so much for being on the podcast, Desiree.
Thanks for having me. I'm pretty excited to talk to you.
Yeah, and can you just go a little bit about what your job entails as the Senior Research and Educations Manager?
Yeah, I feel like that title doesn't even do it justice because I have my hands in so many different pots in Paula'S Choice. So the big part of it is that education is king at Paula'S Choice. We really want to make sure that every single employee knows exactly what they need to know about skincare, that our client services team is the most knowledgeable team out there about skincare and about ingredient research, and just really making sure that our end product is as best as it can be for our customer. And then also on that customer side, making sure our customers are educated and that they have the tools to take care of the best possible care of their skin, whether it's with products or just knowing the right application steps, the right types of products they need to be using, whether it's from our line or somebody else's. So education is a big blanket umbrella for Paula'S Choice. We just have so many different aspects of it. And then obviously the research side of things is really important to us. We're a brand who we won't just jump on some exotic sounding ingredient to make a marketing story. We really make sure that every single ingredient we use is backed by research proving it can do what it claims it can do. So that's really important aspect to our articles, to our products, to all of our product videos, and then getting those products out to the customer. So that is the education and research side of things. I also do a lot on the content side. I do a lot on the media side. We have, like a Facebook live video we do every week. That's just kind of behind the scenes and informational. I also co-authored a couple books with Paula, so I got to do some. Yeah, I did the 9th edition of Don't Go to the Cosmetics Counter Without Me, and also a couple years ago we wrote a book together called The Best Skin of Your Life Starts Here. So I also have that aspect of my job where I've done, TV segments, just kind of giving education about skincare in general and kind of surrounding the book and tidbits of information we have from the book. So a very interesting job. I also get to, meet with magazine editors, do interviews, desk sides, and all that cool stuff. So kind of a girl's dream job, right?
Yeah, that's so exciting. And definitely your title doesn't explain it all.
It doesn't. I don't know that there is a title that can capture all of that.
Right. Now, my other thing is a lot of people want to know, how did you get to this place? How in your career, what's your background? Did you go to school for it, or is this something you stumbled across?
It's a little bit of both. So it all kind of starts back to, I grew up struggling with acne. So I was somebody who was out there trying all these different products and nothing was working for me. And I was just seeking out information on a constant basis to try to get rid of my acne. In addition to that, my family also didn't have a lot of money. So, I was really about finding products that were affordable and that were effective. Mm-hmm. And so that's really where my passion started. But I didn't necessarily know that I was going to go into skincare or into the cosmetics industry at all. In fact, I went to school for communications degrees. And then after school, tried out a few different career fields. And at one point, I saw this ad listing for Paula'S Choice Skincare, and it just really intrigued me. So I went to the interview, and it was actually just to be Paula's assistant just an entry-level job. And, of course, there was part of me that kind of felt like, oh, I'm kind of above an entry-level job at this point in my career. But it intrigued me so much, and Paula's passion just really lit a fire within me, and I thought, this sounds like it could develop into something really cool. And from the get-go, she took me under her wing. She taught me everything she could about research and skincare and the physiology of skin. And, as her assistant, I got to be in on product development meetings. I got to travel around the world with her when she was doing media tours. So I really just took that opportunity to soak everything up like a sponge and just learn as much as I could. And pretty quickly, I started writing for the company, blogging back when we used to have a blog, and writing expert advice articles once I was fully trained. So I got a really interesting and unique opportunity, and I kind of just flew with it, and it's grown into what it is now.
Wow, that's really amazing. I think a lot of the guests who have been here, they really took that opportunity that they were given at an entry level, and they just went so far with it because they were so passionate about what they were doing. So it's always
exactly
so wonderful to hear that that is a possibility for those who are passionate about what they're doing.
Exactly. And it also helped that this was a company that I could so back, that I felt was so honest and ethical, that I just gave myself fully to the process and fully to learning as much as I could. There wasn't any step of the way where I felt like, oh, they're kind of saying things about products that might not be true. It's like I could really latch on to everything because it's all backed by research and science. So it's a very, very unique company that I get to work for, and I'm so appreciative of it.
That's amazing. And so now that you work with Paula'S Choice still, and you've really come up in the company, truly worked your way up, what is something that you find really sets Paula'S Choice apart from other skincare brands?
I think the biggest thing goes back to what I just touched on with everything that we do being backed by research. Mm-hmm. And we really want to deliver products that can live up to their claims and live up to their promises. So like an internal thing we say is we want to make products that don't disappoint. And really we do so much more than that. We blow people's expectations out of the water. But at the baseline, you just want to make sure that you're really doing what you say you can do. And so that's a big thing for us. And then going back to the education part, making sure that our customers even understand what these ingredients are and understand what these products are, because that will help shape and guide them to getting the best possible results. It'll help them understand, if they need to be using these products consistently to see the results and that sort of thing. We're also really huge on creating non-irritating products. So one of our differentiators is that every single product in our line is fragrance-free. And the reason for that is there is copious amounts of research showing that fragrance impairs skin's ability to heal, it depletes vital substances in skin. And the tricky part is you don't have to see or feel this kind of irritation or inflammatory response for it to be happening. The problem is that it's happening below skin surface where you don't see that damage. And then over years, it's doing all of these damaging things that are going to lead to, issues that you don't want, like premature aging, more wrinkles, skin that just isn't as supple as it should be. So that's a really big thing for us. The fragrance point, we also steer clear of high amounts of alcohol, menthol, which is an ingredient that makes your skin tingle, which some people interpret as that meaning the product's working when really it's irritating your skin. Witch hazel, essential oils, especially lavender. There's so much research showing how much it hurts skin in the long run. So we really just want to take a soothing approach to everything we do. Then there's lots of other little things too, like our packaging is really important to us. We want to make sure that we don't put any anti-aging products in jars, because those superstar antioxidants and superstar ingredients like retinol break down in the presence of air and light. So the second you open up a jar, you're allowing that formula to degrade way more quickly than it should be, which is really unfortunate when people buy these $200 creams. And probably within a couple of weeks, their ingredients are basically useless.
And so especially if you stick your finger in it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Then you're transferring the bacteria, which also degrades the formula. So there's a whole slew of things that we take really seriously, and we really take the customer's results into consideration. So, with that fragrance point and with the jar point, there's lots of people out there who think jars look so fancy and they think a product that smells just beautifully is going to be great for their skin, and they like that sensory experience. And while that may be fun and look pretty and smell pretty, it's like at the end, it's doing their skin a disservice, and that is the last thing we want. So we really put the customer's best interest in mind.
Yes, and it's not always the fanciest, but it's the
Nope.
best. So, what I found really interesting was that your packaging was very, very all about keeping the product clean and bacteria free and like as potent as possible, which isn't always like the best on the shelf in terms of like eye catching. But I think it's
Right.
important because everyone I talk to, the second you open up a jar, that starts to go bad.
Yep, exactly. So what I always tell people to look for, whether it's, from our line or somebody else's line, is you want opaque packaging. So none of these clear see-through bottles. There are some bottles that are UV tinted, and that's okay. That's okay because it's blocking those sun rays from getting in and degrading the formula. But the other big thing is just like pumps. Look for pumps. Pumps are really great because they're restricting the airflow. And if it's a tube, hopefully it's a tube with like a smaller hole opening, more of like that needle nose type of opening where it's restricting the amount of air getting in. There is one type of jar that's actually okay. They're airless pump jars, and they actually do restrict the type of air that gets in, and they have a much smaller opening. So I guess I shouldn't say jars are a no-no across the board, but
Yeah.
if it's a jar, it better be airless.
Yeah, the traditional jars that we think of where we open it and it's just you can see all the product.
Exactly.
So I love that you guys are fragrance free because I've been doing my own research and realizing how horrible fragrance is in our products. What it does to our skin, as well as just causing immediate sensitivity, as well as later on causing issues. So that's really cool. Have you guys like had any issues with your customers being like, but this doesn't smell good?
Oh, absolutely. We'll have to be completely honest about that, especially over the years. We've grown so much, and we've learned other ways to overcome that. But, yep, fragrance has been an issue. And it's not always that the product smells bad, but they just really miss that sensory experience of having, like this tropical smelling face cream. And that's just something that with our line, you just kind of have to know it's going to smell more bland. And sometimes the raw materials don't always have the best smell. So there are a couple of fragrance ingredients that are actually good for skin. Cucumber is one. Vanilla is another. Coconut naturally has a great smell, and it's great for your skin. But we don't necessarily use those in our products. We have some products that do, but for the most part, we just really rely on just keeping our formula 100% fragrance-free. And if it does have a fragrance, it's from one of those types of ingredients that actually don't harm skin, like cucumber.
Oh, that's nice to know. So when someone comes to Paula's Choice, most likely online these days, what can they expect to find? And like, what's kind of the process? Like, let's say I've been dealing with some skin issues, or I just want to try some Paula's Choice products, and I go onto the website. Like, what's the best way for me to find a skincare regimen for myself?
So there are a couple different ways. If you really just want to go online alone, we do have a kind of like a skincare quiz. So there'll be a section on our homepage where you can put in what your skin concerns are, whether it's acne, anti-aging, bumpy skin, combination skin, enlarged pores. We have a ton of different things for you to choose from. And then the second qualifier is you get to choose which types of products you're looking for. So whether it's an entire routine, or maybe you're just looking for serums or exfoliants, moisturizers, whatever it may be, you can put that in there. Now, that's a really great starting point, but it still can be overwhelming for people, right? Like sometimes you just need that human interaction. So we have the most knowledgeable client services team. So whether you call in, whether you email them, whether you live chat with them, they'll really take all of your different skin concerns, your skin type, the type of products you're looking for, even your budget into consideration. Maybe at the moment, you only have X amount of dollars to spend. We'll help streamline the basics that you need, and then at a later point, if you can add on more products to your routine, then you can call back at that time. But we really just want to make sure people are getting the best possible results, and we really take great pride in educating our customers on that. So I really encourage people to reach out to our CS team. If you have the time to do it, you're really going to get a very customized routine. And hello, it's free. Go for it. We have the best guaranteed results. If it doesn't work for you, we're going to give you your money back. So there's nothing to lose.
Oh, wow. I had no idea you guys did the money back if it didn't work.
Yeah. Yep. If you don't feel like it works, money back 100%.
That's amazing. I actually called in to do a skincare routine with one of your customer service, and I was really impressed with how knowledgeable they were, because I was very adamant that I did not want a chemical SPF. So she had options for me, and my skin was in this really weird place where it was like oily but dry. So a lot of exfoliation, a lot of that kind of stuff. So it was really interesting because I was like, are you an esthetician? Like, do you have some sort of license? Because doing what I do, I talk to a lot of actual like professionals constantly, and I'm very well educated. And I'm like, wow, this is the best knowledge I've ever gotten over the phone, just like through a chat to find product.
It comes from Paula herself. So she, from the get-go of creating this company 22 years ago, she has always sat down with the customer service team on a regular basis, just had these ongoing training sessions. Let's keep up to date with the best of the best research. Let's keep up to date with, what new treatments are out there for X, Y, and Z conditions. So she takes really great pride and really great care in educating the client services team, and then that really trickles down to everyone in the company. We all have to be knowledgeable about skincare. Even our marketing team, if they're talking about our products, they have to know what they can really do and what they really can't do. So that's a big sticking point for our Paula's Choice.
Yeah, and my other question is, because Paula's Choice is all about the science and making sure that the ingredients are scientifically proven to work. Now, how do you meld that with someone like, for example, me? Like, I'm delving more into like clean beauty, holistic beauty. So, but at the same time, I understand science is like the proven stuff. So, like, how do you approach someone who is trying to do like both worlds?
So doing like the natural side of things and the scientific research side of things, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, because there's like certain things I want to make sure I avoid just because of like the natural stuff. And then, but I'm not 100% natural either. Obviously, like I still use chemicals and other things just because I know they're effective. But like I avoid all parabens, phthalates, and mineral oils. So yeah,
so we like kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, everything we do is based on research. So we have this very strong belief that there are good and bad natural ingredients and there are good and bad synthetic ingredients. And we do try to marry the best of both. Mm-hmm. But if you're somebody who really is wanting all natural products, we actually do have a line called Earth Sourced, and it is all about natural products and natural ingredients. Even though we, as an overall brand, think that you could be shortchanging your skin, missing out on some of these really, really great synthetic ingredients that have been proven totally safe for skin. But we want to give customers that choice and absolutely respect that. So that's where our Earth Source line comes into play.
Okay, that's really cool to know. And like for someone like me, I could like mix and match from your core line and then do some of the natural products.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So, and how do you feel, like, what are your thoughts on mineral oils? Because I know they're technically safe, but I don't feel like they actually offer any nutritional value, but you're more educated on the subject than I am.
Yeah, so mineral oil is one of those tricky subjects to talk about because people do have such strong beliefs about it one way or the other. The main thing that we've found is that mineral oil and petrolatum are actually considered some of the safest, non-irritating ingredients ever found. Now, they go through refinement processes and different processes to get them to where they are. And people, I think that's where people get a little bit confused, is that, if you took mineral oil and petrolatum in its original state and that it's hyped up as bad for skin. But when it comes to the process it goes to get into a cosmetic product, it has no resemblance to the original source. So it's fine in skincare products, but if you want to avoid it, that's also fine. There's so many products out there that don't have it. We have a ton of products that don't have it. Mm-hmm. But by research, and we go by recent research, we have research back from the 90s, and we have research from, 2015 and beyond. And we have this all listed on our website. It's safe. It's considered actually soothing, and actually it's beneficial for skin in many ways. So mineral oil for us isn't a no-no, but if you don't want to do it, we also it's one of those things where we respect customers' opinions on things, and if you don't want it, just don't do it.
Yeah, because obviously, it is filtered. I know that it's filtered, and I know it's safe to put in products. I guess I was just wondering, why is it in our products? You're saying it's soothing?
It's soothing. It's very good for moisturizing skin. So yeah, it can also be considered skin replenishing. There's different properties to it that can help with skin overall surface layer. But yeah, moisturizing is one of the biggest ways it's used.
Okay. Yeah, it's in a lot of moisturizers, especially body care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just particularly efficacious for that.
Okay. And then the other big question is your thoughts on talc.
Because of the Johnson & Johnson issue?
Yeah.
Okay, so using it as a baby powder and using it in the areas that it was being used for when it came to that issue of ovarian cancer. That's a whole different thing than the way it's being used in cosmetic products. Mm-hmm. So we always look at what does the FDA say, what does the research say, and the context of the situation. So, it's applied to your face, and in the context of cosmetics, it's considered completely safe. There's this classification called GRAS, and that's stands for Generally Recognized Safe as Status, and that's what the FDA has granted that. So we don't consider it to be any sort of hazard, any sort of health hazard when it comes to cosmetics. We have modern day testing. We have all these different safety measures to make sure that there's zero asbestos levels or any amount of risk from exposure. So that's not one that we're worried about in cosmetics. The way it was used back in the day as a baby powder, that's just a whole different way it was used, and I won't get into the legal issues of that. I don't think I even can comment on that. But just from a cosmetic standpoint, safe.
Okay. Yeah, because I use it. It's in my eyeshadows. It's in my powders.
Yeah, it's in practically every powder product.
Yeah. I feel like it's what holds everything together, too. So I'm just I think it's okay as long as I'm not applying it as a underwear thing.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah. Thanks for clearing those two up, because I do know, because I personally avoid mineral oils, but when I was having this major sunburn situation on my lips where my lips were blistering, I had to use it. And I'm it protects my skin. It creates a barrier from the environment.
Yeah.
So, I think everything has its place. And I also think people have to just decide what's right for them and understand it's not going to kill you most likely if it's safe, if it's been deemed safe at this point. But to also just be aware.
There's just certain things will cycle in the media over the years, and I call them fear-mongering tactics, where it kind of makes an interesting story, and so they'll latch onto an ingredient and kind of blow it out of proportion to make it sound like it's dangerous when it's really not. And we just always tell people, you don't have to take our word for it. Actually do your research. Go on to websites like PubMed, which is a free website. You can research article journals, pretty much any subject under skincare you can find under there. And just look at the research for yourself and also check the FDA's website. They have a wealth of information there to help you out.
Cool. So what is coming up for Paula'S Choice? Is there anything exciting coming up that you can tell us about?
So I actually asked our product development director how much I could reveal, and they really want to keep tight-lipped on some things.
Okay.
So the only thing they gave me the permission to leak is that we do have a new SPF 50 coming out.
Ooh.
It's going to be for normal to dry skin. I can't say anything more than that, but I'm really excited about it. And, you know, the thing with SPF is we always say you want to be looking for SPF 30 or greater.
Yeah.
And the thing is that people, you know, the recommendation used to be more like SPF 15, but we just know people aren't applying it liberally enough. So that SPF 30 gives people a better chance. And then when you think about SPF 50, it's just giving you that much better protection. So if you're not somebody who's slathering it on as thickly, as generously as you need to be, think about doing one of those higher SPF numbers. It doesn't need to be SPF 100 because that's a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
But SPF 50 is a really great number.
That's awesome. And you're the second person recently, like I had a dermatologist on and she's like, the higher the number, the better because you guys aren't wearing enough. And I was like, that.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah. And I was all like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. And she's like, yeah, if you're wearing an SPF 30, you're probably wearing an SPF 15.
Right. Exactly.
So I think there's a lot of misconception because people are like, anything over 30 doesn't work. And I'm like, that's not true.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
and I recently just learned we should be combining physical and chemical if your skin can handle the chemical SPF because of the fact that, like, just because you're wearing the physical, it could reflect off and back onto you or something like that. I'm totally not doing it justice, but if your skin can.
And it actually, it broke up in the middle of you talking, so I didn't quite fully get what you were saying. Could you say that one more time?
Oh, yeah. So I was learning from a dermatologist that if your skin can handle the chemical SPF to wear both a chemical and physical SPF because your skin gets both types of, like, for the full spectrum of protection, because sometimes the physical SPF will reflect the rays back to the side or back onto you, and then the chemical can help absorb it. So I was like, oh.
I certainly don't think that could hurt. So if you want to double up, definitely go for it. We're really big on layering sun protection and layering products in general. So we came out with an SPF primer earlier this year, which we, tell people to wear under your makeup. Then if your foundation has SPF on top of that, even better, right? Like you're just getting that much more reliable protection. And then out in the market lately, I've seen some pretty cool SPF powders, ones that you can bring on the go where they already have the product loaded into the brush. So I also love to tell people to carry one of those around for them because it's really hard to reapply SPF over your foundation that you've already been wearing all day or over the rest of your makeup. But with a powder like that, touching up is pretty easy to do, and it just kind of helps reassure that you're going to be taken care of.
Yeah, that's like when I found that was the best thing I had discovered for my skin because I can put powder over my foundation, and then have you seen the sprays, the SPF sprays?
Yeah. So with SPF sprays, a lot of them are loaded with alcohol. They need the alcohol in there to give them more of that dry finish so that your face doesn't look like a grease ball at the end.
Okay.
So the only thing I don't like about those is just that the alcohol is really bad for your skin. But there are some decent formulas out there. You really just have to hunt and peck. We at Paula'S Choice have one. It's an SPF 43 spray.
Okay.
The only issue with that one is that it will leave more of like that initially not greasy, but just a little bit more of a slippery feel. So it's not one I suggest for the face. It's more of an all over body type of SPF product.
That's good to know because I get a lot of questions about like the new spray SPFs for the face that have come out recently. And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't tried it.
Yeah. And I also just a little bit caution people about using those types of sprays where they can be inhaling it as well. So, Yeah, I would rely more on like a traditional daytime moisturizer with SPF, or products like our primer with SPF plus your foundation with SPF.
Okay. And then the powders to reapply.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's good to know because I was kind of looking at them. I'm like, they're kind of expensive for how much you get. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always hard to like dissect all the ingredients in the store.
Right. It's interesting that you actually bring that up because Paula and I in the meeting yesterday were just talking about setting sprays with SPF, which there's just a ton of them starting to come out right now. And we're in big talks with cosmetic chemists and different experts just to make sure that they really can work over makeup, to make sure that that SPF, those sunscreen actives, particularly synthetic sunscreen actives, whether or not them being applied over makeup inhibits them being absorbed into skin and doing their sunscreen action or not. So it's something we're debating right now and talking about right now. So
Okay.
I think it's in its infancy, and we'll find out more.
Yeah, because if it's a chemical, it has to get to my actual skin for it to work, right?
Right. That's our whole debate right now. So we're actually, we have like a product council that we're talking to and different cosmetic chemists to find out the answer.
Cool. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with because it is one of those things where I'm like, how does this work?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because
when it comes to mineral sunscreen, that's easier. That's more of just like, that barrier protection, but
yeah. And I
synthetic's
noticed
trickier.
Yeah, and I did notice most of them are synthetic, probably for that finish.
Right. Yep.
What's your favorite hero product from Paula's Choice? This probably is like the hardest question for you, but
It is so hard. So, okay, I'm going to pick two because I cannot just pick one.
okay.
So our Skin Perfecting 2% BHA liquid
Oh my
is
God, I love that.
what I call, it's the best. It's like everybody's gateway drug into our life.
Yes.
It's just so good. You get such amazing results for it. So for people who don't know, BHA is beta hydroxy acid, also known as salicylic acid. And what it is it's a leave-on exfoliant. This one in particular has a liquid texture, so you just apply it with a cotton pad, or some people just apply it with their hands, and you just leave it on skin. There's no abrasive action, but it does an incredible job of exfoliating skin and dissolving those substances in your pores that are going to lead to breakouts and things of that nature. So I like it for the fact that it gives you smoother skin, that it gives you more radiant skin. It even helps speed up the fading of those leftover red marks from acne, which are just like the most annoying thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of the breakout, but then you have this spot left over for months. Because of that exfoliating action, it just helps get rid of those spots even faster. And then when it comes to acne and breakouts, we have basically that same product in our clear line. And it's amazing for breakouts. It's amazing for acne because it's oil soluble. So it goes into the pore lining to unclog those pores and unclog breakouts. So beta hydroxy acid, salicylic acid, those ingredients are interchangeable. They're the same thing. And that's in our 2% BHA liquid. The other product that I just love, just turned one. We just celebrated its 1 year anniversary launch a couple days ago. And that is our niacinamide booster. So it's a 10% concentration of niacinamide. And we're really the first to market with this.
Okay.
Very, very effective formula for enlarged pores. It can actually help and just reshape a pore, help it to go back to its normal size. So you can't get rid of pores. That would actually be a bad thing. Your skin needs pores.
Yeah.
But what this will do will help bring them back to their normal size before they got stretched out, whether that stretching happened from them being clogged or just the types of cumulative damage we acquire over the years from sun damage and things of that nature. And then niacinamide is great for so many other things. It's good for anti-aging. It's good for if you have discolorations on your face. This concentration of niacinamide will help them fade more quickly, just bringing overall radiance back to your skin. And then it also has some hydrating properties to it. So it's kind of one of those magic wonder working ingredients. I put it up there on the level of retinol. Retinol is another great one. But there's just so much it can do that it's easier to find what it can't do because there's there's not a whole lot that it can't do. So naming just a couple things,
Wow.
But it's a really great ingredient.
So can everyone use that?
Most everyone can use that. There might be some people with very sensitive skin. If somebody had rosacea, they might want to do like a test patch before applying it all over their face, just because of the concentration. But we've also loaded the formula with tons of soothing ingredients, so it shouldn't be a problem. But we always, say everybody's skin's different, so try it out on yours in a small area first.
Okay. Cool. That's so exciting. I'm like, because I was like, what is this product? I've never heard of it.
It's a good one.
Yeah. So, okay, to be honest, how many skincare steps do you have in the morning and in the evening?
For my personal routine, okay, so, I go through waves of how much I'm willing to do. So in the morning, cleansing is not an option for me. I have very oily skin. I just find that helps, kind of remove the products that I already put on last night, so I can start with a fresh surface in the morning and just whisks away the oil and the dead skin cells that might have accumulated overnight. So I start with a cleanser. I use our skin balancing cleanser for normal to oily skin. And then our exfoliant, that 2% BHA liquid, is my next step. And then right after that, you don't have to wait in between applying these. I apply our Calm Line toner for normal to oily skin. And then from there, it depends. Obviously, SPF is going to be in the mix, but I might float in a couple other products like our niacinamide boosters. And that's the product I was just talking about. It's got a liquid formula, so it's very lightweight, and you can layer it under other products. You can layer it under makeup. Doesn't leave any sort of finish that's going to leave you feeling like it's heavy or greasy. It's really just like water on your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do that, but I won't do a ton in the morning. Besides those few steps in SPF, that's really it. And then at night, I'll incorporate more of things. So our eye cream, I'm really big into eye cream. I myself, even though I have oily skin, my eye area is the one place that's more normal to almost dry. So I will put our richest eye cream on. And then, I use other products like we have a brightening essence, which just helps with overall skin tone and skin clarity. I'll integrate that into my routine. I'll use our retinol booster. I just think retinol is one of the most amazing anti-aging ingredients out there. And then I'll sub in some other things, like we have an omega plus complex serum, which is all about omega fatty acids. There's tons of research showing how beneficial those are for skin. So it's almost like day of the week underwear. I'll rotate these different products in on different days, but to do them all would just take too long. I'm too lazy for that. So as great as I know that they are, I'll use them more like, a couple times a week and trading off different ones every night.
Okay, yeah, okay, because I'm always like, these 12-step skincare routines, I'm like, I don't have time for that. I get tired.
Nobody has time for that. No, it's ridiculous. I mean, actually, people at my company do it, so I shouldn't call it ridiculous.
Yeah.
I just personally, I can't spend that much time. It's just too much. And Paula herself will say the same thing. She creates all these wonderful products, but she doesn't necessarily use each and every one. You got to pick and choose your battles, and you got to pick and choose which ones you think are the best for your skin type and which ones you think are going to give you your biggest bang for your buck, and go from there.
Yeah, and I think we have to remember we can overload our skin too, or at least
especially
I can't.
For somebody, especially for people with sensitive skin, you do want to make sure that you're not doing overkill. So one thing that people get overly aggressive with is their retinol products. Now, there's some people out there whose skin can tolerate high concentrations of retinol every single day, and then there's other people who really can only be using it once a week or once every 3 days. So you really need to pay attention. If you are seeing any sort of redness, any sort of flaking or itching or anything like that, you need to stop what you're doing, cut back the amount of products that you're using, and really make sure that it's not like a combination of products that's giving you that result.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely a smart thing to just like be aware of how much you're putting on. If something starts happening, it might be because you put like 10 products on your face.
Right. Exactly.
Cool. I'm so excited about the new SPF you guys are talking about.
Yeah. Should be within, I'll say, the next month. I'm just going to keep it very general.
Okay. Cool. Is there so Paula's Choice, the other thing is, how do you guys keep the price point so affordable?
That has just been something that Paula has preached over the years, that she just wants to make sure our line remains affordable. So, we do have to find ways to make it work. It's hard with the competition and their prices being so high, but we just do it. I can't take credit for that one. That is all our product development team.
Do you find, because you don't have to be in the big box stores, or because you guys do everything through e-commerce, that it does cut down a bit?
That does cut down a bit, although, we're in Nordstrom now. We're in Pharmaca stores. So we are in some retailers, and we're also in other places like Amazon. So I think one of the big things for us is that we don't pay for celebrity endorsements. We're not paying for these big marketing stories. Mm-hmm. Our line is really word of mouth. People get hooked on it and they tell their friends about it, and that's how we've grown so much. So we don't pay for some of these other things that other companies do. We also, our packaging isn't the fanciest out there because we don't want you wasting your money on that and spending a bunch of money on that. We want you to get good formulas. So I think that actually, thank you for asking that question, because that really clears up part of what makes us different and part of why we're able to keep the price point down.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's really valuable that, because I don't really care if a celebrity's marketing this product. I want it to work.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We just did a really cool video. We flew in a couple of our clear line customers who had written into us. We didn't even reach out to them. They reached out to us with their before and after pictures. And these before and afters, you would almost think they were photoshopped. They were so unrealistically amazing, but I saw the results in front of my eyes. These people's skin has changed so much by using the product. So instead of doing a celebrity endorsement, we find real customers who can show you the difference between their skin. We want you to know real results and people who actually struggle with real skin problems. I hate it when I see a celebrity who I'm like, you have good skin to begin with. And you also have Botox and lasers and all these different things going on. We want real people and real results, and that's what you get with Paula'S Choice.
That's amazing. That's really wonderful to hear that everything you guys are trying to do and be available for the people who want good skin.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for being on the podcast. Our time's almost up. I could pick your brain for hours about ingredients and stuff. But thank you so much for being so honest and so upfront about everything. It was really wonderful to hear more about Paula'S Choice, and I'm going to go stalk your website now after.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And the pleasure was all mine. I love chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on. And if you guys are listening, I will have all of Paula'S Choice website information in the show notes or in the YouTube video if you're watching the video portion of this. So we'll see you guys next week. Bye.